never had a girl like you. When we locked eyes, when you passed, couldn't look away.
Hey, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are subscribed, welcome back. And if you're not, hopefully by the end of this video that will change and you'll decide to press that button down below. But today we are doing part 2 of the How to Budget series. This is to help you, kind of guide you when you're trying to figure out how to budget for the new year and you're trying to do something a little different. Maybe the stuff you've been doing for the last couple of years has not been working well. So this is my point of view on how I like to budget my money, especially my expenses, my savings, my sinking funds, and all that jazz, especially my debt. So on part 1, I talked about how to do your sinking funds, how to calculate how much money to put towards each one of your sinking funds, depending on your goals. Today, we're going to talk about your expenses, your bills, and how to pay towards your debt and start off with pretty much a blank canvas. So this is the first thing I suggest anyone should do. These are your expenses and your bills. These are things that you have to pay no matter what. If you don't want to go into collections, or if you don't want to get your wages garnished, or if you don't want to get kicked out or get your stuff repossessed, you have to pay these bills, right? So the first thing I'm going to start with is my rent. Actually, I'm going to move this over. Right. So I have rent. You could have mortgage. You could just maybe pay your roommate for whatever they want, or your family. If you put money towards rent or mortgage for your family home, it's up to you, whatever works best for you or whatever you have going on. I pay rent. So my rent for the month is $1,855. For utilities, my water is included into my rent account, but I do have gas and electric. I typically pay or I try to put $130 towards my gas and electric bill each month. My bill has not been over, I want to say $110-ish. So I try to put a little bit extra just so that I'm not like surprised when a higher than normal bill comes about. My internet is $100 a month at AT&T. My car payment is $470 a month. My car insurance, now this I don't pay monthly, this I pay every 6 months, and I will say it's $909 every 6 months. My credit card totals, you already know. So nah, I paid off all my credit cards gratefully, thankfully last year, so I don't have any credit card debt. Wow, that sounds so amazing to say. I don't have any credit card debt. So yeah, I don't have any credit card debt. My student loan payment so far is about $50 per month. Starting in the mid-year, that's going to go up to like $1,000. I'm not excited, but yeah, it's the life we live. And then my savings, if this was a non-negotiable for me, I will put a minimum amount of what I'm going to put from my paycheck towards my savings each month. For you, this could be 10%. For you, this could be 20% of your income. For me, it was $25 last year. This year is going to be very flexible. So I'll just put $25 for the sake of this video. If you are on a higher scale, above me, and you do like monthly investments into different stocks and whatnot, then you would put this in here as well, and you would treat this like a bill, because this is investments that you are saving for your future. So once I get down on my debt, the only thing I have left is my car and my student loans. I am a little worried that this large chunk is going to come out of my paycheck towards student loans. So I'm not very sold on doing monthly investments. I think I'm going to do here and there investments or T-bills. I do have some of those. So I'm going to wait for that. But if you do monthly investments, this is where you would enter that amount as well. If you are like me and you pay your tithes towards your church, I pay my tithes and I use that as a bill. I do not waver on that. That is non-negotiable. God does not say, maybe I'll let her breathe today, but we'll see about tomorrow. So I'm not going to do, maybe I'll pay my tithes this month, but we'll see about next month. No, it's non-negotiable for me. So I pay my tithes. That is about $350 each pay period. So that would be for me about $700 per month. I also have Easy Pass for traveling, and I put $10 towards that each month because I don't use it every day. I only use it maybe once a month, if that. And then I have my phone bill, and then that is $137 a month. It's typically $135, but I like to put a little extra, so I put $137 just so that I don't get, again, surprised. And that's it for my expenses. So let's go ahead and add this up. So I'm actually going, for my purpose, I'm going to take out car insurance because I saved that on the sinking fund side. So I'm going to leave that out of the equation. But my total every month is about $3,477 for my expenses. This doesn't include my subscriptions because I'm going to do that on the next page. So here is where I put my subscriptions separate. And I do that separate because I like for people to see everything that they're putting towards subscriptions and all the subscription accounts that they have. This world, I guess, or society that we're living in currently, it makes it so easy to subscribe to anything. And now everybody wants you to subscribe to everything. So you have BET Plus, you have Audible, you have Netflix, you have Amazon, you have Apple TV, you have Amazon, you have Apple Cloud, you have Apple Music, you have all kinds of stuff, storage, everything. Everybody wants you to put a subscription because it's easy to take money out of your account, and they're always automatic deposits too because they can just take money out of your account. But sometimes we don't even realize how much we're paying total in subscriptions. So I like to keep this separate just to keep myself aware. And when I do my budgeting sessions, I like for my clients to do this as well so they can keep themselves aware just how much money they're putting towards subscriptions. Because if you're telling me that your budget is tight, this is going to be the first thing one of the first things I tell you to cut down on. So for me, I have Netflix, I have Disney, I have Audible, and I have Apple. That includes the cloud, and that includes music. I almost forgot, I do have Amazon as well. So these are all the ones that I pay for. I may have access between like my friends and family with other subscription services, but I don't pay for them. So for Netflix, that went up. I paid $13. Disney, I pay $9 a month. Audible, I pay $16.95 a month. Apple, I pay about $25 a month. And then Amazon is an annual subscription, and that is about $145 per year. So I'm going to add this up. Off the bat, this doesn't look like a lot. Oh, $25 here, $16 here, $9 here. Y'all, that adds up to a total of $63.95 each month. That doesn't even include the Amazon total, because I'm not going to include that because it's a part of my sinking funds. That doesn't even include the $145 spent on Amazon, but this is $63.95 each month. If we put that for 12 months, that's $764 a year. If we put that for 12 months, that's $767 a year that I'm putting towards these 4 subscriptions. If you have more than that, just imagine how much money you're putting towards these subscriptions every year. If I go ahead and add in my Amazon, that's over $900 a year that I'm paying for subscriptions. So if I ever get to a point where I need to severely cut things down, I'm going to start with subscriptions because I don't need Audible. I have like 8 credits right now that I'm not even using. I'm trying to use them more, but I can only read 1 book at a time and I'm already behind. I don't need Disney. I don't need Netflix, you know? So those would be the first things that I cut down on if I had to. Next, I have this little calendar here that kind of walks you through or helps you keep track of when your bills are due. Okay, so for me, I know on the 1st, my student loans are due. I know that any credit card payments are due, even though I don't have any credit card debt. Also, my gas and electric is due. On the 16th, my Planet Fitness is due. And around the 24th of every month, my car note is due. I'm not quite sure when my subscriptions are due, but I know that they're due towards the second half of the month. So I would probably put them here around the 17th, 18th, and they would be my Audible, my Apple, Netflix, and Disney. Around the 11th, my phone bill is due. And then around the 13th, my internet is due. My Easy Pass, I just put money towards that as I see fit. And my rent, of course, is due on the 1st. Granted, I get paid every other week. So let's say I get paid on this Friday of the 6th and this Friday of the 20th. Those are my paydays. Now, if my bills on the 1st are due, I'm not going to wait until the 6th to pay those bills. Absolutely not. I am going to already have these bills paid from the last paycheck of the month. I'm going to have these bills paid from the last paycheck for the previous month. And then for this paycheck, I'm going to pay all of these bills here. From this paycheck, I'm going to pay all the bills due on the next month of the 1st. Okay? The 1st and the first half of the month. So this is how I use the calendar to plan my bill. And this is what brings me down to my budget breakdown for each pay period. So this is for January paycheck number 1. Of course, I'm going to put money towards my rent, but I don't put $1,850. I don't put $1,855 towards my rent out of one of my paychecks. I split that in half, or I split it up just about half. I'll put $910 from my first paycheck towards my rent, and then I'll put $950 from my second paycheck towards my rent. And by the end of the month, I'll have $1,855, and then my rent is paid off for the next month. If you are not already doing this, you may not be able to do something like this unless you have like some extra money. So income tax is rolling around. If you have income tax money that you're getting a refund for, I would highly suggest to try to get ahead on at least like your largest payment, which would be your rent or your mortgage. Unless you have issues like me and it might be your student loans. But I would highly suggest you try to get ahead on your rent, because it hurts your paycheck so much paying your rent in full just out of one of your paychecks. That is a lot of money to come out at one time. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. But if you can get ahead a little bit, I would suggest to pay half from one paycheck and half from the other paycheck. That's what I do. By the time the month rolls around, or by the time the end of the month comes, I'm already my rent is already paid for the next month. So in January 1st paycheck, I'll pay $910. January 2nd paycheck, I'll pay $950. By February 1st, I've already paid my rent for February 1st, and I'll be working on March. For the first paycheck in January, I'm also going to be working on my car. So I'm going to put $470 towards my car, and then that will go towards the payment that's due around the 20th or so. And then Planet Fitness, that comes out in the first 2 weeks of the month. So that comes out on January 16th, and that's going to be an automatic withdrawal. So I'm going to have money in my checking account so that they can take that money out by that time. For January 2nd paycheck, I'll do the same thing, and I'll have all of the money for Netflix, Disney, Audible, Apple, Easy Pass, and my BGE and student loans. All that money will come out for the second paycheck of the month. The reason I'm doing all of these is because those are smaller amounts compared to the half of my rent and my car note. That's $400 right there versus 10 versus 13, $9, 16, 25, $10, $100. Like, that's easy money. That's fine. For me personally, this doesn't have to be for you, but for me personally, phone and internet, they are attached to my credit card bill. So they are automatic payment or automatic withdrawal from my credit card. So it doesn't necessarily matter when I pay my phone and internet bill because I am just going to be paying back on my credit card. So if it works better for me to make these payments on the second paycheck of the month, then that's what I'm going to do. So even though these come out earlier in the month, by the time that pending charge clears on my credit card and then they tell me how much I owe on my credit card, by that time I'll have the money to pay on the second half of the month, and I'll pay it then. Because even if they take out the money on the 11th and the money on the 13th, my credit card company won't let me pay extra towards my account if the balance hasn't cleared yet. So if the balance is still, or if the charge is still pending, they won't let me put extra towards my credit card bill. My other credit card that I use for just spending, they do let me do that, which is why I use that for spending, so I can instantly put that money back. But for my credit cards, but for the credit card that I use my bills on, it won't let me do that, so I have to wait till that money clears. So either way, it doesn't really matter when I take that money out of my paycheck. So for my internet and my phone bill, again, I'm going to use that for the second half of my pay period, or the second half of the month, for my second paycheck of the month. And that's what I do there. Once you map out your expenses, it might be hard in the beginning, but once you get it mapped out, you just keep repeating the same thing every month. First paycheck of the month, I'm going to pay these bills. Second paycheck of the month, I'm going to pay these bills. If you get paid every week, you're just going to break them down into 4 installments instead of 2. So maybe you'll take your rent, instead of breaking it up into 2 payments, you'll break it up into 4. If you get paid 4 times in a month, then you'll have your phone and your internet paid on week 2. You'll have Planet Fitness, your subscriptions, Easy Pass paid on week 3. You'll have your card paid on week 4 and whatnot, stuff like that. So you determine what is best for you when it comes down to managing your payments. If you feel like there's just way too much money coming out of your paycheck and out of your account at the first half of the month, or the second half of the month, or vice versa, or whatever, you can change your payment due dates. So most of your bills, like loans, car payments, not your rent is always going to be doing the first, but phone, car payments, maybe your subscriptions, you should be able to change when those due dates are, so that you can easily maneuver your payments and, kind of make it easier on your budget. Next is going to be your debt tracker. Here is where I want you to see and visualize how much you really owe people. Sometimes we just get in the habit of paying our minimum payments. Like my car payment, I just get in the habit of paying the bill. I see no end. I see no light at the tunnel. I just pay it. Sometimes we just need to write everything down so we can see what's best to attack. how, when, where, whatnot. So for me, I'm going to write down, I don't have that much debt. So now I have a lot of debt in amounts. As far as quantity of debt, I don't have much, but amounts, I have a lot. So I'll just do this for example. So for me, I will put credit card number 1. Back in the day, because I don't owe credit card debt no more. Back in the day, that was $300. Credit card number 2, that used to be around $500. And then I used to owe the IRS. That was $5,000. And then I had another credit card that was $9,000. Then I had a personal loan that was originally $20,000. And then my car loan, that was, I think, around $30,000. And then student loans, that was or is over $300,000. So that's why I don't be worried about student loans. Who cares? Hopefully I can get it forgiven, so we'll see. But let's add this up. All right, so this is giving me a total of $364,804 as the total amount of debt I owe. This number can be so disheartening, but for me personally, I like to focus on the small wins and work my way up to the big wins. For this is known as the snowball method. For other people, they like to focus on the avalanche method. So, and this is just for teaching purposes because I absolutely do not remember the amounts of interest that I owe on these credit cards, but I'm just gonna do this for teaching purposes because I really forgot. Let's say for my credit card number 1, I owed 8%, or I did 8% on interest. Let's say credit card number 2 was 6%. Let's say IRS, there's no interest on that. For credit card number 3, we're going to say that was 18%. For a personal loan, we're going to say this was fixed, meaning that it was included in the personal loan payout. Car loan, we're going to say that's 4%. And then student loans, we're going to say that is 6%. So the avalanche method is paying off the amount that has the highest interest rate first. The reason with that being said is that interest is what you are paying companies in free money. You are giving away money to these companies. They've already loaned you money for your credit card. They've loaned you money for personal loans and a car loan, but they're also earning interest on the money that they've loaned you. So while you still have to pay the $30,000 base loan that you've taken from the company, you also have to pay 4% every month for how much you still owe on the loan. So if I owe $20,000 today on the car loan, I still have to pay 4% in interest every month on what the current balance is for that loan. Same thing for credit card companies. This is what I consider free money. So the more you can decrease the amount of free money you're giving away to these companies, the better. The quicker you can do that, the better. So some people say to pay off the highest interest rate that you owe first on these debts. So that would be paying off this $9,000 first, and then paying off this credit card number 1, and then paying off credit card number 2. Then you would work on student loans. This is why I have a problem with this method. It's going to take me forever to pay off student loans. That's $300,000. I don't even make 1/3 of that, or I make 1/3. I don't even bring home 1/3 of this money each year. So there's no way I'm going to be able to pay this off. This is going to be a long-term payment debt payment plan. I'm not going to see any wins from this. Not anytime soon. Second, for me, because I am in the public service loan forgiveness program, hopefully I can still stay there. I don't want to pay this off because once I make 120 qualifying payments, they'll forgive the rest. So why would I want to pay this off if they're going to forgive that? So I would skip this for me personally because I'm not going to try to pay this off when they can forgive that. Then I would jump to the second lowest debt, which would be the car loan. And then after that, I would focus on the personal loan. And then after that, I will focus on the IRS. So once you focus on one of your debts and you start pushing all your money towards that, you would also still be paying the minimum payment on all of your other debts. So if I'm going to start with the $9,000, let's say I have $500 extra each month that I can put towards this credit card number 3. While I'm putting $500 here, I still have to pay these monthly payments because that is a requirement for the companies. So I can put $500 here, but I still have to pay this $25 minimum payment, this $50 minimum payment, this $60 minimum payment. So make sure you incorporate those minimum payments into your budget. And this is what it would look like here. So expenses, I would still say my credit card number 1, my credit card number 2, my credit card number 3, my personal loan, we put the card payment in there already. And then we have, what was the other one? We have IRS. Okay. This is just assuming we're going to pay these on the same paycheck period. You can break these up again between your paychecks, whatever seems best for you, or whenever, these bills are due. And again, you should be able to change the due dates of these payments. So credit card number 1, we said that is probably $25 minimum payment. This will be $50 minimum payment. This one, we would say our minimum payment is $60. For personal loan, we would say the minimum payment is $400. And then for IRS, we would say the minimum payment is $60. Here is where I will go to my extra debt payments. And I would say that even though I'm going to pay my minimum payment of $60 for my credit card, using the avalanche method, I will put an extra $500 here for credit card number 3. That would be the avalanche method because that credit card has the highest interest rate. If I was going to do the snowball method, like I was telling you guys, I would start with the lowest debt that I have, which would be the credit card number 1. That's $300. That's easy. I can knock that out in one time. Knocking that out in one paycheck or in 1 month would give me like the strength I need to keep going and be consistent because I'm like, yeah, that felt so good. I can knock off one of my debts. Now, instead of having 7 debts, I only have 6. That's awesome. $500, yeah, I can knock that off next month. That's another bill that I can knock off. That's another debt that I can knock off. Now I went from having 7 debts to 5. That is so good. 5,000 would take a little bit longer, but you'll still be just as motivated to do that. And that'll decrease the amount of debt the number of debts that you owe. It wouldn't have a great effect on the total amount of debt, but it would still give you the little wins and the little satisfactions that you need to keep going and to keep being consistent. When you see how good this feels, you'll see how much better this feels. You'll see even more how much better this feels to pay off $20,000. Trust me, I know. I did it. I only have my car loan and my student loans left to pay off. Again, I'm just trying to make it to the finish line to pay off my 120 payments before they can forgive my student loans. But my car loan, I am still working on paying that down. I'm not sure if I'm going to be as aggressive as I was last year because now I also want to focus on building up cash flow and savings for investments. I don't want to just be relying on my income, my active income for the rest of my life. I want to start focusing on passive income so that I can retire early or so that I'm not just tied down to a salary. So I'm still working on my plan. I'm still gauging and seeing what I can do. If I can earn more money to put towards my car loan, I will do that, but I'm just not quite sure. Now that I've done this whole thing, now that I've done all the way up to here, I'm like, what do I do next? I don't know. I want to, like I said, have more money to use for investments and put towards stocks and retirement and savings for my future versus trying to hurry up and pay off my car loan. The reason I'm not trying to hurry up and pay off my car loan is because it's not going to give me that instant satisfaction. It's weird, I know, but I'm not going to be able to pay it off in this year. If I could find a way to pay off my car loan this year, I would do it. But with student loans going up to $1,000, that's just not feasible. So I will figure something out, but I'm still working on the plan. But I just wanted to come to you guys and show you how to work through your expenses and your debt payments. I really want to hone in on you guys, and I really want to caution you guys not to get so bent and not to get too deep into these savings challenges. A lot of people, I'm seeing so many savings challenges on TikTok, and that's great. You want to save money? Awesome. That is amazing. But make sure you're realizing and you're understanding and you're knowing what you're saving this money for. If you're saving $1,000, but you still have $2,000 in debt, that's where the money should be going that you're saving. And again, I know people want to stack money. Cool. If you want to stack money over the entire year, okay, you'll be stacking $5,000 over the entire year. But think about how much interest you're going to be accruing over the entire year as well. If you're saving $100 each month and you're putting that towards your savings challenge, right? You're stacking that money up and you're holding on to it tight and you're waiting to count it at the end of the year. Okay. But that's $100 that you can be putting extra towards one of your debt payments. That way you can decrease the amount of interest that you owe on these credit cards and on these debts. Think about it, how much of the money that you make, think about how much money that you put towards each payment each month. Look and see how much of that money actually goes towards the principal of the amount that you owe. And then look and see how much of that money goes towards the interest. And that's how these credit card companies and these loan servicers, that's how they keep you intertwined into these debt payments. And that's how they keep you owing them for years, because most of the money isn't even going towards your principal. A lot of the money is going towards your interest. With this credit card number 3, when I owed $9,000, over $100 of that payment was going towards the interest. Only maybe 1/3 of that payment was actually going towards the principal. So where I was paying $160 or $170 a month for this credit card, only $70 of that money was going towards the interest. So that was built and designed to keep me owing them for years. So yes, it's great to save money. It's great to stack up. But please recognize that if it's more beneficial for you to pay those debts off and decrease your balance as quick as possible, do that. If you don't have many debts and you want to save up some money for a home, for a car, for investments, for stocks, for whatever, yes, do those challenges. But if you have debts where you're losing money by paying extra interest, please focus on that first before you're trying to save $10,000 for the entire year. You know why? Because you'll have $10,000, but you would have paid $100 a month in interest. So say you want to save $1,000 by the end of the year. Cool. But in that same time, you've accrued $100 each month in interest for these debts that you owe. So by the end of the year, yes, congratulations, you've saved $1,000 by the end of the year. But you've also accrued $1,200 in interest. So you're still negative $200. Just pay that debt off as soon as possible so you don't owe these people any extra money. I don't like giving away free money. That is what pushed me to pay down my credit cards as much as possible. Unfortunately, that's not what pushed me to prevent myself from accruing all this debt. But now I know better, so I'm going to do better. But anyway, comment down below if you have any questions. I know this is kind of like convoluted, and you know, if you are confused or if you have any questions, definitely comment down below. Also, if you're interested in building your budget from scratch or from wherever you're starting from now, I do have coaching sessions that are available that you can purchase, and I can go through your budget with you one-on-one to help you build your budget, help you focus on your priorities and whatnot. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have not subscribed, go ahead and press that button down below. Bye.
There's something about you, but can't put it in name. So promise y'all, give me one chance if you feeling the same. I said.